everyone, and welcome to our science class. I am your science teacher, Miss Shercy Estrada. So what are you waiting for? Sit back, relax, and join me as we explore the world discovering the development of typhoon and how it is affected by the land masses and bodies of water. We are now on the fourth module for the second quarter Science Grade 8, and I hope that you are still enjoying by taking down notes some concepts. And I hope you already prepared your pens, notebooks, and modules. So are you ready for today's lesson? We are now on a new topic for the second quarter Science Grade 8. But before that, let us have first a quick review of your previous ideas you've learned from your previous experiences. In grade 7, you've learned some concepts that will help you understand why the wind blows, why monsoon occur, and what is ITCZ or Intertropical Convergence Zone. First, why the wind blows? The wind blows because of differences in air pressure. This is the effect of the Earth's rotation, which produces a force called Coriolis that deflects the wind from its path. The Coriolis force deflects air to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. Second, why monsoon occur? The primary cause of monsoon is the difference between annual temperature trends over the land and sea. The apparent position of the sun with reference to the earth oscillates from the tropical of Cancer to the tropical of Capricorn. Lastly, the Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ is the region that circles the Earth near the equator where the trade winds of the northern and southern hemispheres come together. Now, let's have a short activity before we proceed to our new lesson. Our activity is called Guess the Gibberish. In Gibberish Challenge, a student basically needs to guess a word or phrase. The filter shows a picture or phrase that makes no sense at all, and the student will need to read it constantly to guess the right phrase before the time goes off. Very good, because our topic for today is all about typhoon. For today's objectives, first, describe typhoon. Second, identify the categories of tropical cyclone. Third, plot the coordinates of the Philippine area of responsibility in the map. Fourth, prepare an emergency kit and explain the importance of emergency kits. For guide questions, first, what is typhoon? How do typhoon develop? Third, what is Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR? Fourth, why is the Philippines prone to typhoon? Fifth, why is it important to be prepared before typhoons? Last, why is emergency kit are important? Before we start, I want you to watch this short video, and after that, we are going to answer some questions. Perhaps your answers may be bagyo, super typhoon, storm surge, and flood. Your answers are correct. Maybe you have now an idea on what we're going to discuss because our lesson for today is all about typhoon. Now let's have an overview about typhoon. All throughout the year, the Philippines is being hit by typhoons. No part of the country is spared. All provinces have been visited by a typhoon at one time or another. According to the Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA, about 20 tropical cyclones enter the Philippine area of responsibility each year. We have to be knowledgeable about tropical cyclones if we want to prevent the loss of more lives and properties. According to the PAGASA, the Philippine Area of Responsibility is the smallest and innermost monitoring domain, whose boundary is closest to the Philippine Islands. We hear weathercasters talk about typhoons, hurricanes, and cyclones. So what's the difference? Typhoons, hurricanes, and cyclones are the same weather phenomenon. The difference is the geographical area where they occur. They are tropical cyclones with regionally specific names. The term typhoon is used only in the northwestern part of the Pacific Ocean, while cyclones occur in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. In the northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean and in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean, the equivalent term is hurricane. Thus, a hurricane on one side of the Pacific Ocean will be called a typhoon if it crosses into the other side. In the Philippines, we use the same word for all categories of tropical cyclones. We call it bagyo whether it is tropical depression, a tropical storm, or a typhoon. The following illustrations give you an idea about how typhoons are formed. First, sun heats up the ocean or seas, especially warm water near the equator. Second, the hot temperature from the oceans moves up or will rise above the atmosphere. The temperature of the surface of the water must be 26.5 degrees Celsius or warmer. Third, when the low pressure meets the high pressure, wind will form. Fourth, continuous circular motion between low and high pressure, the wind speed increases. Lastly, once the wind reaches a certain speed, a tropical cyclone or typhoon will be formed. Have you ever wondered how typhoon maintain its strength? Typhoon plus landmass is equal to weak typhoon. When a typhoon reaches a landmass, wind is blocked by mountains and man-made structures. As a result, it decreases its speed. In addition, there is no larger supply of warm water. This causes the typhoon to become weaker during landfall. On the other hand, typhoon plus bodies of water is equal to strong typhoon. Typhoon gets its energy from warm ocean. So, when a typhoon stays longer in the ocean, like the Pacific Ocean, it gains more wind and warm water and gets stronger. These winds and water can cause damages on man-made structures like houses. When a weather disturbances begins to enter the PAR or the Philippine Area of Responsibility, the Weather Bureau begins to monitor it. So, paano ba natin malalaman na ang bagyo ay nakapasok na sa PAR? So, I have here, nag-print ako na Philippine Typhoon tracking chart para malaman natin at makita dito kung nasan ba dito ang PAR. So, sundan niyo ako at i-plot natin kung asan nga ba dito ang Philippine Area of Responsibility. So, we are going to plot the given points on the map. We are going to connect the plotted points and then the region within this PAR. Okay, so given the points, we have point points A, B, C, D, E, F, and we have also the latitude and the longitude. So, kapag sinabi nating longitude, ito yung mga vertical line. So, ito yung mga yan. Okay, yung mga yan, mga vertical. If we say latitude naman is yung mga horizontal line. Mga yan, latitude ang mga yan. So, we are going to plot the given points. So, number 1, we have latitude, 5 degree north latitude and 115 degree east longitude. So, sa letter A, we have 5 degree north. So, sabi nga natin kanina, pag latitude yung mga horizontal, pag latitude yung mga vertical. So, start muna tayo sa 5 degree north dito. So, we have 4, 6, 8, 10. So, nandito siya sa gitna ng 4 and 6. So, nandito ang 5 degree north. So, kapag sa longitude naman, we have 115. Dito, we have 114, 16, 18, and so on. So, nandito siya sa gitna. So, pagtatagpuin natin silang dalawa. So, 115 degree east at saka 5 degree north. So, nandito siya. 5 degree north, tsaka 115. So, nandito siya. Ito. Ito yun. Okay. So, yan yung 5 degree north and 115 degree east. Ito yung point A. Point A. Okay, point A. Sa B naman, we have 15 degree north and 115 degree east. Ganon ulit siya. So, 115 east dyan. Pero, ang latitude niya ay 15 degree north. So, we have 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So, nandito naman siya sa gitna ng 14 at 16. Yan. So, nandito sa gitna. 115 degree east. So, nandito ulit siya sa gitna ng 114 at saka 116. So, nandyan ulit siya pababa. Connect natin. So, nandito sa tapat. Nandito siya ngayon. Okay? So, lagyan natin ng points. Ito yung point B. So, yung point A, nandito. Yung point B, nandito. So, let's go sa point C. Point C, 21 degree north. Sabi niya dyan, 21 degree north. So, nandito ulit siya. 16, 18, 20, 22. So, nandito ulit siya sa gitna. And then, 120 degree east. So, 114, 16, 18, 20. So, nandito. Pagtatapatin natin sila. Yan. So, nandyan yung point C.
Point B, we have 25 degree north and 120 degree east. So, 25, nandyan. So, we have 24, 26. So, nandito siya sa gitna. And then, 120. So, nandito siya. So, point D. And then, sa E naman, we have 25 degree north and 135. 25 degree north, nandito, and then 135. So, 34, 36, nasa gitna siya. Yan, nandyan ang point E. And then, F is 5 degree north and 135 degree east. So, 5 ulit dito. And then, 135. Nandun ulit siya. 135 pababa. Okay, so ito yung point F. So, kukunik na natin ngayon. Kukunik natin A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F. Yan. So, kita na natin ngayon yung vicinity ng Philippine Area of Responsibility. So, yung nakulong na yan yung Philippines. So, yung line na yan, ngayon, yung mga nag-connect na yan ang Philippine Area of Responsibility. Itong Philippines. So, nakakulong na siya ngayon sa line na yan. So, yan ang tinatawag na Philippine Area of Responsibility. So, once na pumasok yung bagyo dito, nasa loob na siya ng ating PAR.
When Pag-asa monitor the tropical cyclones enter the PAR and it is constantly in motion generally towards the Philippines, it is time to issue warning signals. But before that, let's talk about the tropical cyclone categories. A tropical cyclone is classified according to its strength and group according to the maximum sustained winds near the center. In tropical depression, there will be a maximum wind speed of 61 kilometers per hour. In tropical storm, there will be a maximum wind speed up to 88 kilometers per hour. In severe tropical storm, there will be a maximum wind speed up to 117 kilometers per hour. It will be categorized as a typhoon as it reaches a maximum wind speed of 220 kilometers per hour. If the typhoon further intensifies, it will be called super typhoon, just like the Typhoon Yolanda, with more than 220 maximum wind speed. Now, let's talk about the public storm warning signal, its lead time, winds, and impact of the wind. In signal number 1, winds of 30 to 60 kilometers per hour may be expected in 36 hours. There may be no damage to very light damage to structures. In signal number 2, winds of 61 to 120 kilometers per hour may be expected in 24 hours. Light to moderate damage to structures happen. And during this period, avoid riding a small seacraft and postpone outdoor activity of children. In signal number 3, winds of 121 to 170 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 18 hours. Moderate to heavy damage to structures. Avoid riding in any seacraft, seek shelter in strong buildings, evacuate from low-lying areas, and stay away from coast and riverbanks. In signal number 4, winds of 171 to 220 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 12 hours. Heavy to very heavy damage is expected to structures. Storm surge is expected to reach 2 to 3 meters in coastal areas, so residents are required to evacuate immediately. All travels and outdoor activities should be cancelled. Lastly, we have signal number 5, also called the super typhoon, with a maximum wind speed of more than 220 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 12 hours. Very heavy to widespread damage to structures. Storm surge of more than 3 meters expected in coastal areas. Residents in this area should evacuate immediately. If the storm is classified signal number 5, the example of which is the Typhoon Yolanda in 2013. Disaster can happen anytime, so it is important to be prepared. Having a ready go bag to quickly grab before evacuating instead of taking time to assemble the essentials can make all the difference in emergency situation. But what are the items that you should definitely have in your go bag emergency kit? First, we have first aid kit. First up, it's important to have an emergency first aid kit that can allow you to treat possible injuries. This should contain band-aids, soap, burn ointments, scissor, gauze, and steric labs. Second, we should have ready-to-eat food. When electricity is down, you should have enough food supply to last throughout the calamity. Prepare some bread, biscuits, canned goods, and energy bars. We should have also lots of drinking water. Drinking water is one of the first to run during a calamity. It is crucial to have a sufficient supply at home in the event of prolonged emergencies. Stock up on drinking water bottles or jugs. Next, prescription medication. If you have regularly used prescription medication, it's key that you have access to them in an emergency. Next, secure important documents. Important documents like birth certificate, marriage certificates, land titles, insurance policy, IDs, and passports must be secured before a natural disaster. Keep the hard copies in waterproof envelopes and bags. Next, radio. A radio is essential to receive emergency information. Any hand crank or battery-operated radio can provide information on weather or evacuation alerts. Next, extra batteries and power banks. Charge your phones and other electronics gadgets are before a typhoon. Your mobile phone is likely your only tool of communication. Get yourself an extra batteries for your phones, flashlights, and other electronics. Next, whistle to signal for help. A whistle is one of the things you need in case of disaster. This is especially when seeking help from rescuers. You can also direct your companions during evacuation. Lastly, sufficient stock of clothes. Make sure you have sufficient warm clothes for typhoons. Packs, sweaters, socks, and cotton pants. Choose comfortable items that are easy to pack in case of evacuation is warranted. Once again, congratulations everyone! You will be able to explain and understand how typhoon develop and how it is affected by land and bodies of water. Once again, thank you for listening.